game on for Rainbow Warrior Basketball. Presented by OC Sports Enhance. Enhance your viewing experience with true interactive television on digital channels 13 and 1013 and only on Oceanic Time Warner Cable. And it has been a long time, everybody. Last time we saw you inside the Stan Sheriff Center, it was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Howard Deshefsky along with the guys, Johnny White, Bill Amos, of course, after Thanksgiving. The Bows went on the road. We're going to get your thoughts in a minute, but they went on the road to play number 24 UNLV. It did not work out so well. Here's what they had to say about that first road trip of the season.
You know, we had a lot of freshmen, and so it's a tough experience for the young guys. You know, that's like, I don't know, 15,000 people there, and they're all screaming at you and insulting you, and you know, it's something you gotta get used to.
It was a great environment to play and against a really, really good team. And they came out and jumped on us good early, and they did a nice job of taking the fight to us.
You know, our shots weren't falling, so we had to find other ways to affect the game. So we found that way through, you know, defensive intensities and rebounding and getting out and running. It was a good test for us to, you know, learn from.
I really liked how our team adjusted at halftime, and I liked how we learned from our mistakes, and I really liked how we played that second half. I thought we played with aggression. I thought we didn't, you know, we took the fight to them and made it a game. And so overall, you know, you get the loss. We didn't shoot the ball well, but you know, if you can take that second half and keep that and take that to our next road game, then I think we're going to be real successful on the road. I thought we played really well.
And so here we are back at home, and here's how the big three performed. Look at Christian Stenner. He just went off, 27 points. And it's nice to know when Vanderloon comes up with a dozen, he can step up. Garrett Jefferson really kind of emphasized his abilities in that game. Not only as kind of a shooting number 2 guy, but also running the point. So let's bring the guys in here. Let's talk about that first road trip of the season. Unfortunately, they put themselves in a hole so early, they were never able to climb out of it. But what do you learn from a trip playing against a team like that in a place like that?
UNLV is a great team. They came out there. They weren't able to put a whole 40 minutes together. I think that's the main issue. But coming back and fighting in that second half, I think they showed what kind of character this team really has.
I believe, like Bill said, UNLV, there is a pretty good team. And UH came out, I don't think they were overwhelmed with the crowd and everything, because everybody on that team is pretty experienced and they've been on the big time stage. It's just UNLV came out early, got up on UH, and UH did fight back the second half. They had multiple chances to get it within 6 in that second half. And, you know, I talked to a few coaches, and they say that second half team is the identity of what we want the remainder of the season.
All right, so the question is, are we going to see that second team back here tonight? Always happy to be home in the friendly confines of the Stan Sheriff Center. So we talked to the coach and the players about the feeling of being back home. What's it like? How important is it?
Especially after a game like UNLV, it's good to come back to get it back into our groove at home and to hear the fans yell and cheer, and it'll be good.
When you're at home, it's another amazing experience. It's when you make a shot and you shoot a shot and you see it flying and you know, oh God, like, I don't know, 6,000 other people want that shot to go in right now, like as much as I want, and you just pray, oh God, please let that shot in. And then when it falls in, and then you run back, and there are 2 seconds, right? Like when you shoot, you don't listen to anything, you just shoot it. And then you run back. When you play defense, you don't listen to anything too, because you're so focused on defense. But those 3 seconds you run back, those are like one of the reasons I play basketball, because you just hear the crowd going nuts.
You know, we like it here. It's a good place to play. Our fans are great, and you know, we want to hold home court. You know, we let one slip against Illinois, but we get a chance this week to put another run together after beating North Dakota. So we'd like to get a string going and hold our home court.
Of course, everybody knows it's great to play at home. I want to get your guys' thoughts on Christian Stenhardinger and what he was saying. Those 2 or 3 seconds when you're going back, getting ready to play defense, where you just kind of, do you allow yourself that moment or two to kind of take it in?
I actually know exactly what he's talking about whenever he's saying that. I really do miss that feeling that he's saying whenever you make a shot, you hear Stan Sheriff Center just get really loud, explode, and it's a great feeling.
It's been so long since I played the game. All I remember is Riley Wallace yelling me, "Get back, get back!" So I'm pretty sure it is a refreshing feeling to play at home, and the crowd here, they're phenomenal.
Well, back to Christian Standhardinger. One thing about this guy is, he brought in this European, flair into this team, but he's also brought a lot of emotion to this team, and he's kind of emerging, and you can see his numbers, but not only is a point scorer, but a team leader in one of those intangible ways. So we talked to him about the need and the feeling of emotion and how important it is to him and the rest of the team.
One of the very interesting things Coach said in our early practices earlier this season was that emotions are contagious, right? And I think that's where it can help the team the most. We got our captains, they're supposed to lead us, and then they do a great job, in my opinion, Jay, Svander, and Hans. But there's something else, like I try to find my role too, and those emotions. I want to win so bad that I want to win so bad that it's contagious, and I know my teammates want to win too, and then we even want to win more. And that's why I think helps the team, helps some freshmen too. Sometimes in the locker room, let's stay focused. They see me before the game. I'm like all focused, all business, and they just see it and like, okay, that's the way you do it. And then you go in a game like that, road or important home game, and just gotta do your job and let everything you got out there.
So the guy brings the emotion, and he's also brought the numbers. So has this guy really emerged as the team leader in many ways? I mean, Vander Joaquin's always going to be there, but let's talk about the importance of this young man.
Well, Christian Standhardinger, he has emerged as one of the team leaders, and don't forget, he has experience at this level, and he's just come out from the University of Hawaii and been a plus to, they don't run any plays for him. He just do everything off his ability, drive, and hard work. And so, yes, he has emerged as a leader, and hopefully he can continue that the remainder of the season.
And this guy, he's an ultimate competitor. Whenever you watch him out there, he's always diving on the floor. He's trying to get the ball no matter in the hoop, no matter any chance he can. He's a scorer. He rebounds really well. But I think playing off of Vander Joaquin is something that you can't take enough. You can't take that for granted what he's doing. He's been able to play off a great all WAC player. He's going to be an all Big West player, and I think it's going to end up benefiting Christian in the long run.
All right, well, we'll talk a little bit more about him and about this matchup tonight against the Waves of Pepperdine. By the way, we probably should have mentioned that. They're playing the Waves. Hawaii, by the way, 4-2. Pepperdine 5-3. And the glasses, I don't know if they're real or not, because tonight in the Stan Sheriff Center is Nerd Night. Go figure. Whatever it takes to bring in the fans. Nerd Night under the dome in Manoa. Stick around, everybody. Game On continues. When we come back, we're going to talk about another friendly road trip the team took.
Sponsored in part by UHA. Better health, better life.
And welcome back to the Stanley. Little NCAA basketball coming your way. Hawaii Pepperdine talked about the recent road trip to Nevada, Las Vegas. Before that, before the season actually got underway, there was a friendly road trip of sorts, a team bonding experience as they went to the friendly isle of Molokai.
When I first got the job, one of my goals was to play on every island. You know, we're so unique to anyone else in America. And a lot of the time, even though we're not that far away because of, you know, because of the ocean, you know, our neighbor island fans aren't able to see us live. So a goal of mine is to play. Any island's got a gym. I'd like to give it a shot. And Molokai being you know, one of those, and obviously Brandon Akana's from there and has ties there. And, it's always actually been one of my favorite islands. Even back in high school, I used to go and spend time there and had friends from Molokai. So I wanted them to experience Molokai. I wanted them to experience the people. Guys went fishing, guys went hunting, guys went to the beach. We were able to experience, you know, that island like, you know, we were able to have an experience probably that no other Division I team could in the country. And it was special. So we had a lot of fun, and we bonded, and we spent a lot of time talking about families and what stuff really means to us. And I think it, in the long run, is going to make us a better basketball team. I think we all left there better people.
We were able to go to Molokai earlier this year, and people over there are great. And I'm excited to play for them and in front of them.
Molokai is a very, very nice place. Our team was bonding very much, a lot in Molokai. We were sitting there in the circle talking about our life experience and our goal. So it's good to come back to a place where you had an amazing experience like that with your teammates and with your team.
I think that the fact they opened up their hearts to us already, and now we're coming back and having a game there. I think it's something special for us as a team. And my players get to see the different islands, and our fans get to see us. So it's a win-win for all of us.
A really cool road trip, and here you look at that upcoming schedule. They're going back to Molokai to take on Chaminade. That game's coming up, and then the big classic, the Diamond Head Classic, as it's now known, December 23, 24, 25, and then it gets going for real. Cal State Northridge, Cal State Fullerton. But let's go back to that Molokai trip on a little bit of a footnote. They were actually supposed to initially camp out on the beach. That happened to be the night of the tsunami scare after that earthquake up in British Columbia and Alaska and Canada up there. So they ended up coming up to the gym, the farmers' gym, and a lot of the, you know, neighborhood people came around. They had a great little bonding experience. Now to be able to go back there, you know, share some of your experiences about kind of getting up and close and personal, kind of outside the Stan Sheriff Center.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you watch that video, it kind of makes me a little bit jealous. I didn't get to experience that with those guys. That's something that they're always going to remember. That's a team bonding experience. They got to bond with each other, with the coaches, but it also gave them a chance to bond with the islands, with the people of Hawaii. And I think that's just a great opportunity that they're never going to forget.
Yeah, the fans here in Hawaii are so great. When you do have an opportunity to go to the neighbor islands, to let them experience what you share here on Oahu, it's always a great time. And as far as the team bonding, you have 9 newcomers, and it's very important at some point that you get together as a group and you share your personal feelings, because it is a brotherhood that you're in. It's unlike any other thing. It's unlike AAU sports. It's unlike high school, and it's unlike the pros. You spend your entire life of these 4 years or 2 years that you're here with someone else.
You know, you bring up a good point. You talk about the brotherhood and the whole family unit. And, you know, I'm an old baseball player. We played in the spring. We were able to go home at Christmas. Well, as we just showed you, the Diamond Head Classic, it's going right through the Christmas holiday. So, you know, it's a home away from home. We talked to Gib Arnold, who's kind of the head coach. His role about being more than just a basketball coach, but trying to provide a little bit of that kind of that warm, family-like atmosphere for his guys.
I've got 5 children and 3 sons, but I've got another 16 sons every day. And it's my role and my assistant coach's role to be a father figure, because outside of Derby, they're away from their family and a long ways away. And we need to provide that. And we wouldn't be fulfilling our calling as coaches if we didn't create an environment to where they felt comfortable and knew we had their back, and we look out for them. And you know, these guys come by my office every day, and We spend very little time talking basketball, surprisingly. Sure, we talk it in groups, but when they shut the door and it's one-on-one, we talk a whole lot more than basketball. And you know, when you're able to go to a place like Molokai and kind of let the guard down and just see Coach Arnold in board shorts and slippers and wrestling with his kids and stuff like that, it's a different, they see, well, this guy isn't just that crazy guy that yells at me from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. He's actually a real guy. And he's got some stories, and you know, he was just like us. And you know, it makes it easier for them to come into my office and to say, hey, I'm having trouble with something, or you know, I miss my home, I miss my family, let's talk. And I think it's really good for a team.
So let's talk about this whole concept about team and family. You mentioned the word brotherhood, and especially during the holidays. And how important is it to kind of feel this closeness with your teammates? With more than just guys you shoot a ball with, the guys that are kind of, like you say, you spend your life with.
Well, it's very important, and unfortunately, basketball is a fall sport. So Thanksgiving and Christmas, you're away from your family at times, and so you want to have that assurance and to know that your brothers have your back. And at the same time, Coach Arnold, you know, it is a head coach's responsibility to be that extension of the father figure as well.
I like the fact that Gibb goes out there and he tries to do some bonding with his players, but usually that's more of an assistant's role. Usually you're more close with your assistants. I've had really good relationships with some assistants at UH in the past. Scott Fisher's a great guy, Larry Farmer. But that's a good thing that Gibb does reach out to do that. With me, I don't know, whenever I went into his office, it was still all business, so I don't know if he's changed a little bit.
Yeah. Well, but it is. It's nice to be able to talk to your coach, not as a coach, because, yeah, believe me, I never talked to Les Murakami about much other than baseball until I was done playing, and then I went on road trips. Then we had a lot more fun, but that's another story. Stick around, everybody. When we come back, we're going to talk about the game that's coming up, the Waves of Pepperdine, and that bright orange and blue getting set to tangle with the Rainbow Warriors. Man, it's been a while since we played, and it's going to be a while since Hawaii plays again here in the Stan Sheriff Center. Welcome back, everybody, to OC Sports, sponsored in part by UHA, Better Health, Better Life, and by OC Sports Enhanced. Well, we're about 15 minutes or so away from tipping it off, and I want to go to the guys that will be calling the action tonight. The trio on the sidelines, Kanoa Leahy, Cody Salito, Artie Wilson. Gentlemen, all yours.
Thanks a lot, Dash. Yeah, here courtside, Kanoa, Tony, Artie. You can kind of sense some of the fans in the building still mourning a couple of other big Hawaii sports stories today. The Heisman Trophy decision, not going to Manti Te'o, going to Johnny Manziel. BJ Penn losing in the UFC. And when we talk about this game, it's obvious that the Heisman voters didn't necessarily take defense into account. But these two teams tonight that are about to do battle here on the court at the Stan Sheriff Center, how's that segue? Pepperdine and Hawaii.
That's a great transition.
They care a lot about defense. In fact, both teams holding opponents to 38% from the field this season, which is pretty phenomenal. Talk about how defense plays a huge part for the successes of both these programs.
Well, you know, for my part, I think that, you know, the defense that Hawaii plays on Pepperdine will determine the game. You know, they don't really score a lot of points. They're not a high-scoring team. They slow the game down a little bit. I think they beat Riverside last night 52-40, a very low-scoring game. And I think for UH to be successful, you know, I really do think that their defense is going to stop Pepperdine, and UH is going to be very successful tonight.
The Waves will certainly slow things down a little bit. They have won 5 of their last 6 games, but yeah, it'll come down to long defensive possessions for a good portion of this ball game, don't you think, Artie?
Yeah, well, Pepperdine wants to take air out of the basketball. They don't want to play an up-tempo game against the Hawaii team, and they will challenge the Rainbow Warriors to play defense for the full 30 seconds on the shot clock. They don't want to go down and shoot it real quick. Hawaii, on the other hand, wants to get the tempo up. Hawaii plays much better basketball when they get up tempo. They don't have a fast break team per se, but the tempo of the game needs to go a little quicker for the Hawaii team to have success. And their offense often comes because of great defense. When Hawaii digs in and plays really good defense, their offense comes around.
What about progress here for Hawaii, and how much progress can be made when you consider the schedule, including the last home game for Hawaii, North Dakota, then they go to UNLV tonight, next week on Molokai against Chaminade. That's going to be 4 games in 25 days for this team. Does that hurt? Does that help the potential progress of a basketball team at this time of year?
Well, you know, for my point, I always like to play more games. The more games my team could play, the better off I thought it would be, because you cannot duplicate a game situation in practice. It's extremely difficult. So in a preseason, you know, as many games as you can get in, I think it really makes your team a little bit more experienced than it would if you have a gap between a lot of games. So I think it might hurt them a little bit.
Well, now, the politically correct answer, because it is nearing the ending of the fall semester academically, so final exams, that kind of thing. And I know Coach Gib Arnold has said that that's a positive as far as how spread out the schedule is. But basketball-wise, what's your take on it?
No, I would like to see them play many more games before the Diamond Head Classic. One game a week doesn't get it done, in my opinion. They should be playing a couple games every week leading up until the Classic. And that won't affect their grades. I mean, they can play a lot of basketball and still go to school.
As long as it's at home, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they only had one non-conference road game scheduled here.
I'd rather play a game than practice. Yeah.
All right, well, it is Nerd Night here at the Stan Sheriff Center, and so we're going to put on our, I guess you could say, Tony Solitos.
Wait,
here.
Mine,
okay, those are but we said you had some already.
Where are yours? Where are yours?
No, wait,
yeah, you already got that. No, you got those to Artie.
Okay, hey, I got it.
All right.
Okay, we got it going on.
Now we're really a team.
We're all
These aren't nerd glasses. These are really nice glasses.
All right. We'll see you guys at tip-off. Let's send it back over to the least nerdy guys in the arena over in the corner. Dash, take it away.
Right on, Cole. You guys looking sharp, looking sharp. Hey, you heard those guys. I was going to ask you the same question, and they touched on it. So what about the fact, you know, you had that one game here, then you go to UNLV, then we're going, you know, back home, then to Molokai. For yourself as a player, how do you like that lack of rhythm?
You don't like it. You want to spend as little amount of time as you can on the practice gym, especially when you're playing for Gib Arnold. But whenever you look at their early schedule, they already play. They played 3 games in 4 days in their first weekend. So you're getting these games out of the way in a short amount of time. You're not going to have the ability to play 2 games a week leading up to the Diamond Head Classic.
Yeah. And we'll get another thought from Johnny in a minute. Let's talk about the opponent now tonight. Kanoa mentioned the Waves of Pepperdine, winners of 5 of their last 6. So here's Gib Arnold on tonight's opponent.
You know, they've got 2 senior guards that are having a really good season. They got a kid, Lauren Jackson, who is the one of the better players in all the WCC. He's a fifth-year senior. He's supposed to be a senior last year, blew his ACL, so he's come back. He's had a great senior year. Tough kid, tough player, real good leadership. He makes them a team that can beat anybody any night just because he's smart and he's good. And they got a really strong backcourt. Like us, they got a couple of freshmen that got some talent that need more seasoning. And every game goes on, they get a little bit better. I like this team. I think that they've played well. They beat Irvine, who was picked ahead of us. They beat a Pac-10 team in Washington State. They've won some games on the road. So they're having a very good year, and so we expect a heck of a battle.
No question, this is a very improved basketball team from last year. Their leader, Lorraine Jackson, averages 16 points a game, 3 rebounds. Stacey Davis is a very impressive freshman. He's very good with his back to the basket, and he runs well. And Jordan Baker, coming out averaging 9 points a game, 4 rebounds a game. He's the heart and hustle of that team.
One of their X factors is going to be their point guard play. They have a guy named Caleb Willis. He comes out, he averages 5 points. He's the guy who sets up their entire team. He's similar to Jason, that he doesn't average a lot of points, but he does a good job of facilitating their offense.
All right, so the Vegas trip behind them. Stan Sheriff, we're home. We hope you enjoyed the game, everybody. You've been watching Game On. We thank you very much for spending a bit of time with us in the pregame show. Gib Arnold and company ready to tip it off. Pepperdine versus Hawaii. Enjoy the game. We'll see you back here at the half on OC Sports.
Good evening, basketball fans. Please rise for the singing of our national anthem and Hawaii Pono'i. And the group that's coming out onto the hard court this evening is HEARTS, and that stands for Hawaii Education of the Arts. It's a Windward Side nonprofit organization that believes that every child deserves an arts education. While they're setting up, let me tell you that their 50-voice choir will sing in New York City in June at Lincoln Center, and they will also sing the national anthem for the New York Mets baseball team. In the meantime, they are here to share our national anthem and Hawaii Pono'i. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome HEARTS.
We
Ladies and gentlemen, Hawaii Education of the Arts, Hearts.
Rainbow Warrior Basketball on OC Sports is presented by Oceanic Time Warner Cable. Let's meet the starting lineups.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Stan Sheriff Center for tonight's NCAA men's basketball game. The Pepperdine Waves versus your University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. And now, the starting lineup for the Pepperdine Waves. At guard, 6'2" senior from Simi Valley, California, number 0, Lorne Jackson. At forward, a 6'6" freshman from Laveen, Arizona, number 5, Stacy Davis. At guard, a 6'2" senior from Stockbridge, Georgia, number 23, Caleb Willis. At guard, a 6'4" junior from Bergen, Norway, number 31, Nicholas Scowen. And at forward, 6'7" freshman from Capel, Texas, number 45, Jet Raines. The head coach for the Pepperdine Waves is Marty Wilson. And now, Hawaii fans, time to make some noise for your University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Starting at number 6, the Manoa Maniacs. At forward, 6'8" junior from Munich, Germany, number 34, Christian Stadhardinger. At guard, a 6'3" junior from Chicago, Illinois, number 32, Brandon Spearman. At forward, 6'6" senior from Bartlett, Tennessee, number 21, Hans Brereton. At guard, a 6'4" senior from Salt Lake City, Utah, Jace Tavita. And at center, 6'10" senior from Luanda, Angola, number 15, Vander Waki. The head coach for your Rainbow Warriors is Gib Arnold.
After being dealt a bust last week in Vegas, the Rainbow Warrior basketball team looks to bounce back in front of the friendly fans of the Stan Sheriff Center. And with final exams of the fall semester looming, the theme at the arena is Nerd Night as the Bows prepare for another tough test from Pepperdine. Riding the wave of 5 wins in 6 games, Pepperdine battles Hawaii in Manoa next.
The
Hawaiian Tel MCU starting lineups at the top of your screen as we get set for battle between the Pepperdine Waves, coming in at 5-3, going up against the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii, 4-2 overall, coming off of a loss in its first road game of the season against nationally ranked UNLV, losing that one 77-63. It will be Vander Joaquim to jump against Jet Rains. Joaquim wins it, and Hawaii controls to get this thing started. For Pepperdine, Hawaii is the 4th Big West Conference team that they've played already this season. Pepperdine, of course, out of the West Coast Conference. Joaquim gets it down low. The spin move, the muscle doesn't go. The follow by Spearman is blocked out of bounds, and it'll stay here with the team in white.
Well, you can see already that there's been a scouting report to sag back off of Jace Tavita.
See Gib Arnold, 3rd season atop the Hawaii program, and you know they worked that one in practice. Christian Stan Hardinger, who in the loss against the Rebels scored 27 points, pulled down 10 boards. 2nd time this season he's scored 27. Also did so in this season opener against Maryland Eastern Shore.
That's an unforgivable mistake that should never happen if they play the inbounds pass correctly. It's absolutely terrible.
Here's Lauren Jackson pulling up for 3 and splashing it. Lauren Jackson, 6'2" senior from Simi Valley, California.
Probably their best player.
Redshirted last year because of an ACL injury, and it was the 2nd ACL surgery that he's required in his Pepperdine career, but he's back and he's averaging 16 a game. Spearman missing from the wing, and then a foul on the rebound. It's going to go against Christian Stan Hardinger.
Well, you know, once again, to elaborate on that out of bounds, you know, when you play in such a way that your man can never throw the ball inside, you know, that's a big advantage. You got to throw it to the outside. A play like that should never work.
There you saw Marty Wilson.
Yeah, we have an Artie Wilson, and Pepperdine has a Marty Wilson.
That's my cousin.
That's a cousin.
That's a cousin.
Jackson again open for a 3, but it's waved off. A whistle on the screen set by Stacey Davis. So his first personal, each team now with a foul to speak of. And Jace Tavita, who ranks 10th coming into the week nationally in assists per game, averaging 7 assists per. He controls. Stan Hardinger, tough drive, tried to kiss it off the glass, didn't go. Now the Waves rolling the other way. Davis walked with it.
You know, it looks like Pepperdine is trying to up-tempo, something that's surprising me, because I thought they'd come down and really take air out of the basketball. They're trying to come down the floor and try and beat Hawaii down.
On that possession they did, for sure.
Pepperdine averaging 65 points a game. Hawaii just under 74 a game.
Well, I'll tell you, they're not very big, but they are stocky. They're really well-built players.
They double Joaquim down low, leave Tavita open for 3, and he makes him pay.
And Jay says, sag back on this. I'll knock down some jump shots. And he's not a bad 3-point shooter.
Hit that shot, and it's all over for Pepperdine.
That's his 5th triple of the season. He's now 5 of 14 from out there. Hawaii up by 2 here in the early going. Coming off the screen, this is Nicholas Scowen, junior transfer from Pratt Community College a couple of seasons ago. Hans Brereton would be good if he can get it going. That one clangs off the heel, and the rebound tug-of-war is on. And it belongs to Pepperdine out of the mosh pit with bodies flying. Nice bounce pass down low. David, the pump fake, and Davis able to finish.
Davis is a freshman. Now, is that a nice-looking freshman or what?
Yeah, he looks like a man.
Man,
how old is he?
Man.
Yeah, how old is he? Is he 18 or 19 or 23? Did he go on a mission? My goodness.
Pepperdine in a similar situation as Hawaii. 7 newcomers for this Waves team. They lost 7 players from a year ago, 4 to graduation. Other players transferring out and also sitting out for various reasons.
They scouted that play for me.
Jackson changing his mind in midair. The give and go, and he can't finish at the rim. Rebound Spearman coming the other way for Hawaii, and it's poked away from behind by Jackson. Willis to Scowen for 3. Got it! Fell to the floor. No whistle, thankfully, for Hawaii's cause, but Pepperdine up 3.
And Pepperdine, from a tempo standpoint, has decided to come out and go up and down the floor.
Tavita answers. Well, he's already doubled his season average in points. He's got 6.
Well, he can shoot the 3, that's for sure.
Pass into the post by Range, deflected out of bounds by Tavita. 15:54 left to play. We played to an early stalemate. We're knotted up at 8 here at the Stan Sheriff Center, but Jace Tavita taking it upon himself to knock down some 3s. Welcome back to the Stan Sheriff Center. All right, time to take a look at the Kaiser Permanente keys to the game, guys.
Well, for Pepperdine post defense, talking with their coach Marty Wilson before the ball game, he was very aware of the size advantage Hawaii had and understood that the Hawaii bigs were very effective, so he wanted his big guys to really defend well.
And for me, you know, I'm a little concerned with Vander's knees. I hope they're okay. I was at practice, and it seemed to bother him a little bit. And I hope that Hans Brereton snaps out of his shooting slump, because the last couple games he hasn't been himself. And I think if he gets going, it'll make it a lot easier on the University of Hawaii.
Brereton, 8 of his last 28 field goals over the last 3 games. Missed his first try tonight. He's also just 2 of 14 over those 3 games from outside the arc. A couple of substitutions on each side. Number 1, Jordan Baker on the floor for Pepperdine, along with number 50, Mariba DeFreitas, 6'9" junior. For Hawaii, Isaac Fotu on the floor. As you see the drive baseline by Willis, and a blocking foul is called. They may say that Garrett Jefferson, the other guy who just subbed in for Hawaii replacing Spearman, may have been inside the arc. Let's take a look.
I think he was, as you look at this not strong move, and I think clearly Jefferson was inside the arc. Let's watch it. You see his feet there? Yep. Well, it's kind of hard to see from
hard
that
to tell.
But
body would lead you to believe that he was inside that circle. Garrett Jefferson, who was one of the bright spots in that loss against UNLV, played 22 minutes, a season high, scored 8 points, had 5 assists, was 3 for 3 from the field,
and didn't play afraid. He played very confident in that ball game, and he was really a spark plug for them.
But he picks up the quick foul, and Caleb Willis at the line, one of the seniors on this team from Stockbridge, Georgia, leading the team with 4.8 assists per game. And how about the assist to turnover ratio? 38 assists to 12 turnovers. That's better than 3 to 1.
Yeah, that's doing the job with the basketball. And he's got that big body. I mean, he looks like he could be a running back or a fullback.
Here's Brereton. They insert it to Vander. Quickly double teamed, and now they're going to try to swing it around the arc. The reversal and the shot by Brereton goes, and that might be one of those buckets that gets them going. We'll see.
And that wasn't an easy shot.
I was just going to say, that's not an easy shot at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Brereton scored 14 last year against Pepperdine. That was a game that was played in Malibu at Firestone Fieldhouse. Hawaii losing 73-67. So looking for a bit of vengeance, if you will, here this evening in Manoa. Davis jump shot, that one hard off the glass, but Willis the offensive board, and now we're starting to see a little more of what Pepperdine is usually going to attempt to do, and that's work some of the shot clock. Down low, that's DeFreitas. He's played well this season off the bench. Second on the team in rebounds, leads the team in blocks. Hails from Trinidad. And they're going to send this one in the direction of Pepperdine.
I'm going to say Jace Tavita set a block instead of a good pick. Let's watch this again now.
I don't know. He was pretty emphatic about his call, though. Yes, yeah, he does. He was. He moved. Yeah. So I guess he knew he was right. Because he had good hand signals, and he was absolutely sure of that call.
Pepperdine preseason picked to finish 9th. That's last in the West Coast Conference as Scowen gets loose for the triple. He is shooting 44% from outside the arc. Led the team last year with 33 triples.
Yeah, he's their best three-point shooter by far, supposedly.
And again, picked preseason to finish 9th, last in the West Coast Conference. But this is a team that's coming off of a year where they were very injury-plagued. Missing Lauren Jackson certainly hurt their cause last year. And in the early goings, the indication that this is going to be a better team than what some of the pollsters perceive them to be.
Well, you talked about Lauren Jackson having 2 ACL surgeries in a career.
In a college career.
In a college career, that's a lot of surgeries.
Jefferson out to Tavita. A two-man game going between Jefferson and Tavita. Jefferson misses on that short jumper.
Well, they have Jefferson playing the 2 again, and, you know, I think that's his natural position, and he's very good. I think he's much better at a 2 than he is at a 1.
Jordan Baker, that one may have been partially blocked.
Yep, it sure was.
Here's Jefferson. On the attack again, leaves it for Joaquin. Step inside the arc, that doesn't go. Offensive board, Brereton.
If you can see his numbers, throw him,
give him the ball. Yeah, it's frustrating to sit here.
This is not the hard thing to remember. Come on now.
Tavita, can he make it 3? No, he doesn't.
Close the door.
Hit nothing on that try.
It was a draft. It was definitely a draft. Yeah. No, Coach, I know you were sitting there thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Vander Joaquin went down there, posted up, and the ball should have been delivered. Instead, he looked at him, and then after that, it was too late.
If you can see his numbers in the low post, throw him the ball. It's not hard.
The deflection and the steal by Jefferson. But he gives it right back. DeFreitas rips it away. And again, the Waves will slow it down a tad.
Well, Scowen coming off that pick for that 3, that's a very difficult shot to defend, but he can shoot it.
So can Baker.
Tavita went under the screen, and that allowed Baker to knock it down.
Is that their 3rd or 4th one today?
He's shooting 41%.
Right now, they've made 4 threes in the ball game.
Fotu, power move, draws the whistle. 4 of 5 Pepperdine from outside the property line.
4 or 5. They've made 6 field goals in total, so they've made 4 of their 6 made field goals are 3s.
And Fotu on that move is a very aggressive young man that will only get better with time. Only better.
Goes to the free throw line, hoping to end this 8-0 Pepperdine run. Fotu had his worst game certainly as a Rainbow Warrior against UNLV. Artie, you were there. You saw that game.
I said that Isaac Fotu looked like a freshman for the first time this year against UNLV. Now, a lot of that could have been he's never been to Vegas before. And if you've never been to Las Vegas and you arrive and you walk around, I mean, for the first 24 hours, you're in shock anyway. Especially if you've never been to Las Vegas, you're not from the U.S.
Had 2 points, just 1 rebound. Was 0 for 1 from the field against the Rebels.
I think that had a lot to do with Bennett. Bennett's a pretty good little player for UNLV.
Well,
in fact, he's a pro.
Yeah, he's
going to be a pro.
Austin Mills controlling for Pepperdine. He is a walk-on to this team, but receiving minutes, and then gets called there for the illegal screen. Timeout on the floor. Well, the Waves showing that they've arrived here in Honolulu. with victory in mind. We got a tough ball game early on. Series record is sponsored by Aston Hotels and Resorts. You see the all-time series, Hawaii with the slim advantage, 7-6. Last meeting was December 3rd, 2011 in Malibu. Pepperdine coming away with the victory in that one. One of just 10 wins on the season for the Waves, who haven't enjoyed a winning season since 2004-2005.
Well, there's been a lot of three-point shots made in this ball game. Jace Tavita for Hawaii has knocked down some threes, going 2 out of 3 from the field. Hawaii needs for him to shoot the basketball, and for Pepperdine, they've got a bunch of guys who have been knocking down threes, making 4 out of 5 three-pointers for the ball game thus far. And if they can continue to shoot the ball like that, they'll be in this ball game for the entire ball game.
And Nicholas Scowen with a couple of those threes. Jordan Baker has one. Lauren Jackson has one. Here's Fotu in the post. Wheels it to the far corner. Jefferson, touch pass to Stan Hardinger, blocked by DeFreitas. That was a smothering rejection. 10th block of the year for DeFreitas. He's tops on the team. See the ball movement reigns up close. Can't hit. Stan Hardinger collects the rebound. The rotation for the Waves looks pretty good in the early goings. Both defensively and offensively, the way they move the ball. Spearman dared to shoot. Takes it upon himself, but can't hit there. Back into the hands of Austin Mills it goes. Now Jackson with it. Hard drive left of the lane by Jackson, poked out of bounds. It'll stay with Pepperdine.
And you'll see a great defensive play right there against
Blocked him with his elbow.
Yeah, he did. Christian didn't take it up to the highest point to try and get a shot off, that's for sure.
Number 55, Jan Malin into the game for the first time for Pepperdine. He is a 7-foot sophomore. Here he is guarding Fotu. The spin by Fotu, that was pretty.
And that's where Isaac Fotu needs to get the ball down there 8 to 10 feet from the basket, and the young guy needs to work it.
How about the pull-up by Mills? That was unexpected. He drops it. His second three-pointer of the year. His second field goal of the season.
Did you say he was a walk-on?
Walk-on. Stan Hardinger A lot of contact there, no whistle. Jackson clears it for Pepperdine, and they have the numbers in transition. Leaves it for Baker, who lays it in. And the lead is 7 for the Waves.
Where's his running coming from? Yeah. I thought they were a slow-down team.
There's so much for scouting reports, huh?
Tell you.
Okay, here's
Hey, they didn't outrun him. We watched this replay. Oh, this Fotu score?
This is the Fujitsu cool play of the game right here.
Beautiful.
Isaac Fotu going with his left hand, reverses around, comes back, watch it again. Little spin move, kisses it off the glass, and clearly that is the Fujitsu cool play of the game.
Very cool, Fotu.
Kanoa spoke about Isaac Fotu being a freshman and having probably his worst ball game up in Vegas. And I guarantee you, if this Hawaii team were to go and play UNLV tomorrow, the game would be completely different than that first ball game. They would play so much more competitively against the UNLV team. Now, they still may lose, but they would play much better against that team this time.
Well, you take what they did in that second half, where Hawaii actually outplayed the Rebels considerably. Yeah. Add that to the first half against Illinois. Remember that overtime loss here in the Stan Sheriff Center? And Hawaii, admittedly, according to Gib Arnold, would be a tough out on any evening against just about anybody. And speaking of Illinois, now 13th in the nation.
That's unbelievable.
They just beat number 10 Gonzaga on the road, 85-74.
That is incredible.
They're 10-0.
Hawaii dominated Illinois until the last 3 to 4 minutes of the ball game.
Went to overtime, and Illinois hitting a buzzer beater. Spearman the penetration, the kick to Tavita. A lot of traffic down low. Stan Hardinger got that one blocked. And the Waves just kind of out-hustling Hawaii early.
They're a little more aggressive than the Hawaii Bigs.
A little more active, you're right.
A little more aggressive. They've got a little more energy in them.
Hawaii going into a zone.
You know, if you're going to play against a zone and don't penetrate off the pass, that zone will kill you. That zone just makes you pass the ball and do absolutely nothing at all offensively. And that's what Pepperdine did against UH's change. Nothing.
See what Hawaii does here against a Pepperdine zone look.
Penetrate off the pass, you're in good shape. There you are, a nice little jump shot.
Everything was perfect except for the shot. Fotu's follow no. And look at the Waves running again. Willis all the way to the rack, but
I was going to say he had something special if he was ever doing that.
It was so pretty, it was so and one-like, it was illegal.
Yeah, it was from the street.
What'd they call?
They called double dribble. Hey, watch it again here. Hey, catch it.
The opposite hand touched it a little bit there. Pepperdine by 7. Back here at the Stan Sheriff Center, tonight's Jack Fact. Looking to get in the books. Pepperdine senior Lauren Jackson needs 1 3-pointer and 2 steals to break into Pepperdine's career top 10 in both categories. That was coming into the game. Lauren Jackson already has 1 3-pointer to his credit tonight. So just 1 away. He needed 2. He's 1 away from breaking into the top 10 there. Here is a look, speaking of Pepperdine at the other end. This is a look at Caleb Willis, who was called for a double dribble on that move.
And I think it was a bad call because, watch it, the left hand does not touch the ball there. Now, the official thought it did, and they called a double dribble, but that was just a sweet move. Agreed, fellas?
I didn't see it.
From that angle, we could not see the touch. As you see, Joaquin getting the angle down low.
That's his first basket tonight, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. Thought so. We don't penetrate off a pass and forget about it. The zone will make you throw it around the end all night long.
Jackson. And Joaquin collects it for Hawaii. Lob pass behind the defense. Fotu misses the bunny, gets it back, misses the hook. Pepperdine will reset things. They certainly missed Lauren Jackson last year. There's no doubt about it. Was an all WCC honorable mention the year prior. Or sat out last year after ACL surgery. Scowen. That one doesn't go. Fotu able to pat it to himself. Too much traffic down there. Spearman, though, finds Brereton in the left corner. 3 up, 3 down.
Good to see Hans Brereton knock down a 3-point shot. He needs to shoot the ball with confidence.
Shooting 32% coming into tonight. That's just his 3rd 3-pointer made out of his last 15 attempts. The lead is 2 for Pepperdine. Jackson can't answer that 3. And Tavita gonna force the issue. Can't finish at the rim. Kind of a staggered pace to this game. Certainly herky-jerky as far as the rhythm goes. Extra pass, Jackson from the corner, rimmed in and out, offensive board, and follow Davis. No, rebound Joaquin. And Hawaii with a chance to tie or take the lead. Fotu isolated down low.
Great assist by Vander Joaquin. He delivered the ball, and I'm sure Vander is thinking, now why don't they throw it to me like that? I gave it to you, Fotu. Great assist by Fotu. Now look at Vander. He just gives it to him. He doesn't hesitate. He gives it to him, and Isaac Fotu just down there has a defender on his back, and he can make an easy shot.
Pepperdine enjoyed an 8-0 run earlier in this half. Hawaii riding a 7-0 run. They've come back to tie this thing at 21.
I think UH's low post is way too strong for them. Way, way too strong. You have to just throw them the ball. They have to get the ball in every possession.
Well, you got to get it down there.
Every possession.
Yep. And you pass it in there and you milk that until it's dry.
So they make an adjustment. They don't make an adjustment, they'll beat them.
Monroe Claire coming into the game for the first time tonight for Hawaii. He did not play in Sin City, averaging just 7.8 minutes per. He was the guy on the HawaiiAthletics.com website. He was the guy promoting Nerd Night, the theme tonight. All those nerdy glasses being passed out to the fans here at the Stan Sheriff Center. So he was donning the glasses, and he was the guy on the poster to advertise the night. As you see the penetration by Jackson. I asked Monroe, I said, why'd they pick you to be the guy for Nerd Night? He says, I don't know, that's kind of messed up, isn't it?
It is, I'm a freshman.
Not that being a nerd is a bad thing, come on.
I wouldn't know, buddy.
Of course not. Joaquin took a couple of dribbles to the left. Stan Hardinger found his way to the basketball somehow and then gets fouled on the follow. So Stan Hardinger will go to the free throw line after being fouled by Lauren Jackson.
Well, that missed by Vander Joaquin, and then if Jackson didn't commit the body, it would have been a really easy block right there.
Yeah, that was Scowen who got Stan Hardinger from behind. Stan Hardinger shooting 69% from the line. He rattles that one home. Stan Hardinger has scored double digits in every game this season, including a couple of 27 spots most recently. That loss to the Rebels up in Vegas. Good look at Marty Wilson in his second year. He is a Pepperdine alum. 1989 was his graduating year. Played for Jim Herrick for the majority of his career at Pepperdine. Was also an assistant, had a couple of assistant stints, in fact, at Pepperdine before taking over the job before last season. Here's Davis. Cleared by Brereton. Claire left alone, and he draws the whistle. Hard take to the basket by Monroe Claire.
You like the aggressive move by Monroe Claire, but he got hammered.
Didn't show Monroe a lot of respect. That waves D. He'll go to the line when we come back. We're knotted at 23.
Find the perfect gift for every occasion at Big Island Candies. Visit them at their flagship in Hilo at Ala Moana Center or click on BigIslandCandies.com to view their entire collection and place your order today.
Well, if you need tickets to an upcoming UH contest, visit HawaiiAthletics.com, call 944-2697, or visit the Stan Sheriff Center box office. 3 easy ways to get your seats for exciting UH sports action. Monroe Claire knocked to the deck on the preceding side of the last time out, and he goes to the free throw line to shoot 2, and into the game for the first time tonight. In fact, into the game for the first time this season for Pepperdine. We saw number 44, 6'6" junior Multi Kramer. Had knee surgery at the end of the summer and making his way back into the lineup for the first time here tonight against Hawaii. Native of Germany. Also on the floor on the Hawaii side, Davis Rosidis. You see him in the background behind Claire. A couple of misses that time, but Monroe Claire.
Claire's supposed to be one of the better shooters for the Rainbow Warriors.
That was his first trip to the free throw line this year.
This year?
Yeah. Not ever, just this year. Again, Scowen getting loose. Clangs that one, though, and Stan Hardinger going to try to lead the break. Stripped by Jackson, and last touched by the way. Stan Hardinger wanted a foul called.
And if you're Jackson, you should look at Stan Hardinger coming down the floor and go, oh, he's going right hand. He's not going to go to his left. You should have just jumped on that right hand because you could see it coming. Watch this on the replay. Now he's got it in his right hand. He's going only right hand.
Looked pretty clean from the replay, so a good no call by the officials. Claire inbounds it to Stan Hardinger, and a tie-up is called. He got smothered again. This time it was the 7-footer Jan Malin. Malin missed the first 2 games this season because of a hand injury. He redshirted last year, suffered a similar hand injury plus a groin injury. After playing just 3 games last year, he decided to redshirt.
He's a big boy.
He is. 7 feet, 300 pounds. He is a block of humanity.
He is a big boy.
3 from the corner by Malti Kramer. Welcome back to the hardwood. Waves back up by 3. Pass, Stan Hardinger relocates it out to Claire. No look pass to Rositis. That shot high off the glass, hit nothing. The double in the corner. Kramer got to get rid of it, finds Jackson. On the other side, Malin.
Excellent execution by Pepperdine.
UH was very quick to the ball on that possession, though. They really got all over those outside shooters. Very quick to the ball.
Yeah, just better offense than D right now, though. And the D was pretty good.
The activity of Pepperdine at both ends of the floor has been pretty impressive through the first half.
Very efficient.
I'd have to agree with you.
As Brereton hoists up an air ball from 3 land, the save by Stan Hardinger goes to Jackson, and Hawaii looking just a little disjointed at the offensive end. Kramer, that one doesn't go this time. And Stan Hardinger chases down the loose rock. Claire to Spearman on the baseline. Spins, whirls, blocked. And it belongs to Pepperdine. Spearman with his palms pointed upward looks at the officials, wondering if there was a reason why the whistle wasn't blown. 1:31 left, and the Waves have been able to pressure defensively. They've picked and chosen their times to run. But for the most part, they've played Pepperdine basketball.
And it's been tempo dominated. They've just dictated the tempo to this ball game, and the officials have allowed the guys to play. There's been physical play, there's bodies, and it's on both sides. Both sides have been able to be physical.
So what's the adjustment, Coach?
I think both of you guys are absolutely right. They are playing Pepperdine's game. You guys immediately hit right on the key. Now, what their adjustment is going to be, I mean, Artie said it 5 times. I said it 5 times. You said it 5 times. Throw the ball inside. The ball in basketball goes from inside out, not from outside in.
Well, and the key also is delivering the ball at the right time. Sometimes the Hawaii guys are delivering the basketball too late, and then there's a double or triple team down there. When a guy flashes, give it to him. Pretty simple.
Pepperdine shooting 42% from the floor in this first half. Hawaii under 30 at 28.6. Here's DeFreitas at the elbow, finds Jackson on the other side. Boy, they run Jackson all over the place. On the shot clock. Stacey Davis, 6'6" freshman, working against Vander Joachim. Jump hook doesn't go, knocked out of bounds, and it stays here with Pepperdine.
The guys in orange are a little more aggressive going after the basketball.
I can't figure it out. They're not a better team. That's simple fact. They're not.
But they seem like they have a little more want to.
Yeah, they're playing a lot better. That's all right. They're playing a lot better than UH.
We talked about all the newcomers. 7 newcomers for Pepperdine this year. 8 newcomers on the side for Hawaii, so parallels there. And similarly, Coach Marty Wilson saying that despite all the youth, their chemistry this year is probably better than it was last season, where they had more experienced college basketball players, as Malti Kramer hits his 2nd triple of this first half.
And right now, Pepperdine is 7 out of 14 from threes for the ball game. You shoot 50% from threes, you're going to be in every game.
They're up 8.
Wow.
And Kramer not showing any rust. His first appearance this season. Coming off of a knee injury. About a second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. This is the biggest lead of the game so far for Pepperdine. Joaquin with 2 seconds on the clock. And that'll be a shot clock violation.
Well, the rule is you go at 8 and you shoot at 3 so you get the offensive rebound. They went at 8 and didn't and waited till the end, and they don't have a shot at the offensive rebound. There's only 0.2 of a second left. So
that wasn't a good possession for Hawaii.
I think they're going to add some time to this clock. I think they're going to ask to put 2 seconds on the game clock, so a chance at a hoist here to close the half for Pepperdine.
Now, you made a statement before. You said they're not calling it close. You know, that's an adjustment you have to make. There's nothing you can do.
Wait,
they're
allowing you to play physical play.
Then play.
Play physical.
Absolutely.
Until they make the adjustment as officials, hey, you've been given a green light.
You always play the officials.
Yeah.
Always play.
Now that's a lot of body contact. There's a lot of contact.
There's a lot of contact.
But they're allowing it to happen.
And they're saying, the officials are, that 2 seconds should be on the clock, that it was a differential of 2 seconds. I think that's a little lofty, but still, they give it to him. Jordan Baker, the half-court heave.
That was close. That was real close.
Whoa.
Tantalizingly close.
Whoa.
But right now, Pepperdine enjoying an 8-point advantage. Hawaii held to just 23 first-half points on its home floor here at the Stan Sheriff Center. Some adjustments to be made here at halftime for the home team Bows. We'll be back with more from Manoa right after this.
Yeah, welcome back everybody at the half of the Stan Sheriff Center. And the scoreboard, not very much to the liking of the fans here at the Stanley on a Saturday night. 31-23. Let's talk about Hawaii. And we talked about the long layoff here. They haven't played here since the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Only one game in between. How do you develop a rhythm? Well, so far they have no rhythm, and they're being mauled. I mean, credit this Pepperdine defense.
No question. Pepperdine came out with a sense of urgency tonight. Hawaii, like you say, they've been off for almost a week here at home, and they're just struggling. They struggled early to get off to a good start. They miss a lot of great opportunities to score in the paint. Christian Standharder struggled a little bit, but look for them to make the adjustments at halftime and come out with a bit better force in the second half.
You really have to credit Pepperdine's defense right now. They're swarming to the ball. They're flying around. Hawaii might get a quick drive, but then they're closing that off, and they're even cutting off any kind of kickouts. They have guys closing out. They're really swarming to the ball. They're flying around on defense.
Stan Hardinger and Joaquin, between them, only 6 points. Taking a look at points in the paint, Hawaii is just getting absolutely struggled and smothered at Pepperdine with points in the paint. They're doing a much better job. They're also rebounding the ball. They're getting it down low where Hawaii just can't seem to find any open shots in the paint.
Well, I've seen Stan Hardinger a few times. He gets the ball down low. He's got guys all around him, and he still tries to force up a shot. You can't do that. Just because you're in the paint doesn't mean it's a good shot. Whenever you have guys double teaming you, can kick out for an open three.
Pepperdine is doing well, and Hawaii isn't doing. Pepperdine is pushing the ball, getting easy looks. Hawaii isn't getting back right now in transition defense. I know Coach Arnold's going to talk about that here in the second half. Transition defense, that's giving these big guys easy points in the paint. So look for them to get back.
23 points for Hawaii on only 28% shooting. Stick around, everybody. When we come back, we'll have more. We're at the halftime. Nothing else. The fans are being entertained. We'll see you back here after a short time. Welcome back, everybody. This team, the Waves, came in having won 5 of their last 6. Warren Jackson doing a pretty good job in giving them that early lead.
No question. He's bringing that senior leadership, and he got off to a hot start early, and he's also getting everybody involved. You like to see this from the senior leader.
And then, Bill, there's the three-point shooting, another big difference between these two teams tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Pepperdine's coming out there. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. They're shooting 50% from 3. That's something that cannot happen if you want to win a game. 7 for 14 from 3 right now.
Hawaii 3 and 7 from three-point land. Chase Tavita has a couple of them, and Hans Brereton only 1. But they're being outshot, and I hate to say they're being out-hustled, but does it look like they're being out-hustled to you?
Yeah, it looks like they are right now. They're, like I said earlier, Pepperdine's really flying around. You see Hawaii kind of with dead legs, and that is something we talked about in the pregame. Whenever you have these big, long breaks, it's sometimes hard to get a rhythm in the first half. I look for them to make a few adjustments right now and maybe come out with a little bit more fire.
I don't think they're being out-hustled. They're a little sluggish right now. They picked it up in the second half. Where they're going to have to come back on this game is on the defensive end. They're going to have to communicate more on defense, get over on the pick and rolls, and limit the three-point shots. Because right now, Pepperdine is 7 for 14 from 3, and it seems like Hawaii is having a tough time communicating on who's going to cover that guy coming off the screen.
One thing Hawaii did at UNLV was they adjusted at the half. Problem was they were down by so many. Well, they're within striking distance here. We'll see what they could do. We'll talk about adjusting yet again. Stick around, everybody. Much more to come from the stand. Sheriff Center, where Hawaii trailing by 8 at the intermission. we promised some Hawaii highlights. Jace DeVita, 2 of 3 from long distance. What does Hawaii need to do here in terms of adjusting at the intermission, guys?
Hawaii needs to come out and, like I said, winning on the defensive end. Jace DeVita came out very aggressive, shot the ball with confidence. Fotu, as you see here, he came out as well. Had some good productive minutes off the bench. If they come out, guard the ball, guard the three-point shot, and execute on offense, I think they can get back in this game.
Well, right now what they're doing, you can obviously see they are focusing on going inside the entire time. They've been shooting a lot of three-point shots in games lately. This game they've only shot, I think, 7 3-pointers. So I think they have the right game plan. It's just a matter of implementing it right now.
One other question. How long is this Gangnam Style song going to be around? Is this just here forever?
I think it's here for good.
All right, go ahead, dance us out. We're going to go back to, go ahead, guys. We're going to check back in with Kanoa when we come back. Come on, brother, you got the moves.
I don't know.
Stick around, everybody. Hawaii Jelly by 8 after your, look behind us.
We got the rainbow dancers, let them do it.
OC Sports, presented on Oceanic Time Warner Cable, is sponsored by Bank of Hawaii and Kaiser Permanente.
Welcome back to the Stan Sheriff Center. Kanoa Leahy along with Tony Solito and Artie Wilson courtside. Let's take a look at the McDonald's halftime statistics. 23 points in the first half for the Bows, guys. That is a first half low this season.
Yeah, not a real good sign. And you look at the statistics here, Hawaii shooting 29% at home. That's not good at all. And Pepperdine coming on the road at 43%. The biggest difference in this ball game is Pepperdine 7 out of 14. The guys talked about it at halftime, knocking down 50% of their three-point shots. Hawaii's only making 3. The thing that disturbs me is that they have battled against the Rainbow Warriors even with 19 rebounds apiece. Hawaii needs to dominate this team on the boards in order to have a chance of having a victory.
Well, I think the biggest thing that disturbs me is what you already said, is the shooting. They have 4 assists and 8 field goals made, which is 50%. And I don't know if they're missing all the other passes they get for their shots, or they're just flat out not shooting well at all. So as a coach, I think that would be very disturbing, because I don't know how you get out of that kind of shooting slump unless you just start right off the bat in the second half, knocking them down.
I'll tell you what I would like to see Hawaii do. I'd like to see Hawaii get the ball out and get a break. They have 0 break points in this ball game. You need to up-tempo this game. You need to turn the ignition up and make things happen so that these guys can go up and down the floor. Hawaii needs energy in their game.
Turnovers pretty even, 5 for Pepperdine, just 6 for Hawaii. Although the Waves have 12 points off turnovers compared to just 5 for the Rainbow Warriors.
Well, you'll see a different lineup here in the second half, starting with Isaac Fotu coming in the ball game. They're sliding Hans Veriten to the 2 spot. Brandon Spearman's out of the game. Now, this is the largest team Hawaii can put on the floor.
So we noted the officiating in the first half. They allowed it to get pretty physical down low. Maybe this is Gib Arnold's reaction, response to that, the adjustment of, okay, well, let's go big and see how you call it now.
Yeah, well,
no, I think Brandon Spearman's 0 for 4, hasn't scored a point. That's a big deal, playing all those minutes.
Is that part of it?
I think so. Playing all those minutes, you got to score.
Brereton open for 3. That one doesn't go. He is just not his usual self here.
Why?
For the time being.
I want to know why.
Blocked by Vander Joachim, just his 3rd this season. As that knee gets better, those block shot numbers will as well. Stan Hardinger rises up and hits. So a block at one end, and a jumper at the other.
And a fast break. Hawaii finally got a fast break and converted.
Six points for Stan Hardinger. Hawaii remains in that zone. Again, running Lauren Jackson all over the place, and he's able to sneak it past Joachim. They run him baseline corner to baseline corner and everywhere else.
As far as I'm concerned, you're not supposed to get lay-ins like that.
Not against the zone.
Not when you have Isaac Fotu, Vander Joachim, and Christian Stan Hardinger all out there.
Yeah, well, I think that's... Is that a timeout?
It's a physical foul called against number 5, Stacey Davis for Pepperdine. Now watch this drive. You see Vander Joachim screened out, and I mean, Fotu and Joachim got to do a little bit better job.
Stan Hardinger open for 3. Gets his own rebound. The follow-up, no, but he will go to the free throw line. Pepperdine really closes in when that ball goes into the interior for Hawaii.
Yeah.
I mean, they double immediately.
They smother that ball. So the key for Hawaii is somebody's got to knock down a couple 3-point shots to bring the defense out. And thus far, we've had no one able to do that.
Stan Hardinger able to knock down the free throw. Leading the team in scoring and steals coming into this game. Gets 1 of 2 there, but Brereton keeps it alive and taps it to Tavita. The lead is 7 for the Waves. Fotu fakes the pass, tears down the lane, can't hit. Gets his own rebound, and a foul underneath against Pepperdine.
Like the aggressive play by Fotu. And if you're Pepperdine, you're frustrated because you don't want to give up second and third shots. Now you see Fotu go down the lane, little finger roll, doesn't get it, but he's aggressive. First one up to get the ball.
And the foul called against Lauren Jackson, his 3rd. So the foul situation with 18:22 left, a factor for Pepperdine's leading scorer. And Jackson will sit. Coming into the game is Malte Kramer, we mentioned, making his return to action for the first time this season. Has not played because of a knee injury.
You can tell that by the way he's walking.
Made a couple of 3s in the first half, so he's feeling all right in that department. Again, Hawaii benefiting from an offensive rebound. Brereton able to knock it in.
And they stay in the zone. They overload one side and pick the bottom. That's it.
Kramer, can he make it 3? That one went in and out. The follow dunk was rejected by the rim. And then the putback try again by Jet Raines went astray. It belongs to Hawaii out of bounds. Jet Raines thinking big thoughts.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't quite materialize for the 6'7" freshman. couple of talented freshmen on the floor for Pepperdine, between Raines and Stacy Davis, number 5. Tavita goes back to Stan Hardinger, mid-ranger, yes.
Good assist, nice closeout by Stan Hardinger, coming in, getting into that little lane where there's an area where he could receive the basketball.
9.7 rebounds for Stan Hardinger. It's down to a 3-point ball game. Scowen left alone. Can't make the Hawaii defense pay. That one almost caromed back in off the top corner of the backboard. Tavita, wide open. Can't knock it down. Fotu gathers it. Stan Hardinger from mid-range again is fouled on the arm by Kramer. That's his first. Well, the activity certainly benefiting Pepperdine on both ends in the first half, but you're seeing a much more active Hawaii team, particularly on the offensive glass, where they have gotten all kinds of second and third opportunities already through the first 3+ minutes.
And that's a real positive for Hawaii.
Stan Hardinger gives himself 10 points, which continues his streak. He has now scored double digits in every game this year.
And you have to credit that to the adjustment made by Hawaii to start bigger, to start Isaac Fotu and Stan Hardinger and Van der Joaquin. So you got your 3 bigs in there, and they're doing a nice job.
Well, this lineup seems to be a lot more effective than the other one.
And it's good for Stan Hardinger. The lead for Pepperdine down to 1. So Jordan Baker gets it to Davis on the interior, and they work it back around. Baker again, left baseline. Willis the penetration, and a blocking foul called against Fotu.
Did they call the basket good?
They call the basket good.
They do. They call the continuation, which is a point of emphasis this year in college basketball. They are trying to give more continuations on moves to the basket. And this is going to be a 3-point opportunity.
And that's a good point you make, because that is what's happening, and it shows blatantly in some games. You go, that cannot be good, but a continuation is emphasized.
So Caleb Willis at the line. This is a guy who, after he graduated from Stockbridge High School, sat out a year before attending college because he needed to get himself in shape. He had put on a lot of pounds. In fact, lost close to 50 pounds before finally reporting, if you will, to Pepperdine.
Wow.
He looks like a linebacker right now.
Already.
You know, the Pepperdine team also went karaoke singing last night at Shorebirds. Just they're here from Friday to tomorrow, so it wasn't a long trip. They didn't really have a chance to do a lot of sightseeing. As you see, Joaquin, a short hook, nice job there, down low in the paint.
I think he's moving back, saying to him, throw me the ball, guys, I'll score for you.
But the Waves decide to just have a little team outing. They go karaoke singing, and word is Caleb Willis can carry a tune.
Oh, yeah?
And a touch blocking foul called against Stan Hardinger. Well, Hawaii has fought its way back into this one. Down at halftime, trailing by just 1 with 15:35 to go. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the Mid-Pack Petroleum leaderboard. Hawaii's rebounding leaders. Vander Joachim still working his way back from that knee injury. Had some complications this past week in practice. His shot block numbers are down. Rebounding a little bit down, although he's still on top as far as the team numbers go.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job in this ball game. Hawaii in the second half now, 9 rebounds to only 3 for Pepperdine, so they have started to dominate the glass in the second half, and it's something we talked about at halftime that needed to happen for Hawaii to get back in this ball game.
So I imagine you both think it was a pretty shrewd move to go big to start the second half, putting Fotu in place of Spearman.
I like the move for this particular ball game at this situation because they needed to have energy, and Fotu brought definite energy.
Well, I think that if it worked, then it was a good move. That's the way I feel about it, you know, because Spearman had been playing so well
Spearman's
so far.
Still
yeah.
very valuable.
Yeah.
Now he'll still get minutes here.
Well, another freshman on the floor for Hawaii, number 23, Ozren Pavlovich, on for the first time. He replaces Stan Hardinger. Hawaii remains in that zone. I should say Stan Hardinger remains out there. He replaces Hans Brereton. Pump and the jump by Kramer off the mark, and a whistle will go against Hawaii on the rebound.
Yeah, it's going to be against Vander Joachim holding.
That's his first. Well, Hawaii trailed by 8 at halftime, 31-23, and they've been able to claw their way back to within a point here. First 5 minutes of a second half, so important. As you see Kramer missing from distance. The follow-up by Baker falls short. And the rebound knocked away from Joachim and retrieved by the Waves.
Well, without Lauren Jackson on the floor for Pepperdine, they don't look as confident offensively.
Willis, the pump fake, and you're right. Not a lot of guys ready to pull the trigger, it appears. The pass underneath DeFreitas. And a tie-up will be called as Pavlovich and DeFreitas each had a paw on it, and the possession arrow belongs to Pepperdine. So it will remain in this direction once again. It's been a long couple of possessions here on this end of the floor for the Waves.
This is a tie-up here. Both guys come down with the basketball. It's a quick whistle.
So adding the 6'8" Pavlovich to the lineup, Hawaii very big. About as big as it can be in terms of personnel, at least the 5 combo on the floor. Baker off the feed from Willis.
Wow, big time shot.
Nice shot.
That is his second. Baker 2 from distance. He has 8.
Now they seem to be slowing the possessions down. Yeah, they made a lot of passes that game, got a lot of offensive rebounds that possession, and took their time.
Foul on DeFreitas, reaching around on Fotu. 8 3-pointers made for Pepperdine, guys. 8 of 18.
That's shooting the ball very, very well on someone else's court.
Gib Arnold, who spent some time at Pepperdine, was an assistant from 1999 to 2003. Pavlovich for 3. Yes! That is the first 3-pointer of the year for Pavlovich, who was 0 for his previous 6 attempts. And so Gib Arnold pushing some correct buttons as far as the substitution patterns go here in this game. Pavlovich giving them the boost there. Hawaii back within 1 and coming the other way. Here's Joachim, quickly doubled. Somehow hangs on to it. And a timeout will be taken by the Hawaii bench. 13:05. We got a ball game here at the Stan Sheriff Center. Let's take a look at the Pictures Plus Fantastic Frame. And this Hawaii band, always fantastic, no doubt about that. In fact, the entire support system for this UH basketball team, they bring it every night.
Yeah, they do.
And Hawaii going to need it here over the final 13:05 because the Pepperdine Waves have shown up here in the Stan Sheriff Center, and they're making it a tough evening for the Bows, trailing by 1. Hawaii has not led since it was 10-8 in the early goings of the first half. There have been 5 ties in this game. Tightly contested battle. Here's Fotu to Stan Hardinger. Mid-range jump shot again. Doesn't go that time. And a foul on the rebound will go against Nicholas Scowen as he bumped Pavlovich out of the way. First foul for Scowen. 6th team foul for Pepperdine, so 1 more and Hawaii in the bonus.
You can't guard the out-of-bounds play like that. I don't understand that at all. You can't turn your back to the guy that's taking the out-of-bounds pass.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Yeah. You can't do that. It's unforgivable. Unforgivable.
And you see him put left hand on the jersey a moment ago, but you're right, Coach. They are Pepperdine is struggling defensively against Hawaii's inbound play.
So Fotu at the line. He's now 3 of 5 from there. And Lauren Jackson picking up his 4th personal foul on that last sequence underneath the basket. So that's huge for Pepperdine. And we've talked about the changes that Hawaii has made here in the second half personnel-wise. Certainly playing a little bit more up-tempo and more aggressive on the defensive end and on the offensive glass. But Lauren Jackson sitting is a huge factor as to what's happening in this game right now as Hawaii has made it a tie ball game.
And that was definitely UH's ball there, right there. That was not Pepperdine's ball.
So we start over. Under 13 to go, knotted at 38. No Lauren Jackson right now, sitting with 4 fouls for the Waves. Baker. Yes.
But Hawaii needs to find Baker. That's the second time he's knocked down a nice long-range jump shot. So wherever he is on the floor, you better shade to him.
Yeah, make that 3. He's actually 3 for 3 as Pavlovich changed his mind in midair.
He certainly did there, he certainly did.
Fotu, great spin move, a lot of contact, and he earns a trip to the charity stripe. So the officials allowed this game to become physical, and Hawaii seems to have responded here in the second half to try to live up to that physicality.
Yeah, but Hawaii needs to do a better job, Kanoa, of closing out on 3-point shooters. Pepperdine is now 9 out of 20 as you look at Isaac Fotu get fouled here. It's not on the offensive end that Hawaii's got to make this adjustment. It's on the defensive end.
Yeah.
They're shooting 9 out of 20 threes.
You know what that means, though? You know, once they go big, it slows down their closing down on the 3-point shooters because they're so big. Once you take Brereton out, you get slower reaction to the ball, and therefore they're a little bit more open for their shot. And I think that's the difference. They're shooting 50% from the 3.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
9.7 rebounds, meanwhile, for Isaac Fotu. The deficit back to 1. Scowen will try a quick 3. That one rattles in and out. Fotu getting high up in the atmosphere to grab that board. Pavlovich had a notion, but instead he'll get it into Davis Rosidis. Back to Pavlovich. Hard drive down the lane. Offensive foul.
Pavlovich has got to just pull the trigger. He's a shooter. He is not a guy taking the ball to the basket. His gift is to stroke 3-point shots. I don't think he's the guy that you want slashing.
Spearman continues to sit for Hawaii, trailing by 1. 11:47 to go. Let's go inside the numbers presented by Burger King. 0. The number of juniors on Hawaii's roster this season. They go 3 seniors, 5 sophomores, 7 freshmen.
That's a 12-man nucleus for them next year if they all come back.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Pepperdine, went younger. A lot of newcomers this year. But like Pepperdine, Gib Arnold says that their chemistry is better this season than it was last year with some of the more experienced players.
We'll see how well. We'll see whether or not that's true when we look at the color of his hair at the end of the season.
By the way, guys, Pepperdine 9 for 21 from outside the property line. 9 triples. That ties a season high for the team. Lauren Jackson, remember, sitting with 4 fouls for Pepperdine. Still got a lot of basketball remaining here at the Stan Sheriff Center. It'll be interesting to see when Marty Wilson feels like he can put him back in. And an overreach foul called against Joaquim, who protests and has to be careful. That's his second, 15th foul for Hawaii. Take a look.
Well, a little reach around here by Vander Joaquim. Pretty clean. Pretty clean.
So a fresh 35 for the Waves.
And you know the thing, when I say pretty clean, the thing is, as a player, wait, you've allowed a lot of contact and now you're going to call this?
No foul there.
No
Willis.
No travel either.
Back
and
to
then
Baker.
He comes back and misses.
And the offensive board chased down by Scowen.
Long shot, long rebound. Somebody's got to get it.
So a 3rd possession on this same trip for Pepperdine.
And hasn't that happened an awful lot in the second half for Pepperdine? 2 and 3 possessions.
Willis dared to shoot, and he drops it in.
Well, their tempo seems to have slowed down a lot this half. Look at the score. It's 43-40. You know, it's not a high-scoring game at all.
And Hawaii now trying to slow things a tad. It's Tavita, Fotu, Joaquim, Rositis, and Pavlovich on the floor for the Bows. Fotu, the quick spin. That's a devastating move.
That's very quick.
Probably his signature move at this stage of his career.
Yeah, that's very quick.
Moriba DeFreitas picks up his 3rd personal foul.
Watch it again, how quick this is now. That's quick. For a 6'8" guy, that's nice footwork.
DeFreitas, Baker, Jan Malin, Willis, and Scowen on the floor right now for Pepperdine. And Fotu can't hit. DeFreitas falls to the floor, and that'll be a traveling violation. Now, you are allowed to slide with the basketball on the court if you are going after a loose ball. That's a bit of a wrinkle in the rule that they inputted last season. But if you have it and you fall to the floor and you roll with it, that's a travel.
You know, Vander Joaquim got caught with, well, he got away with having a little hand in the lower back on that play.
Pulled the chair out a little bit, huh? Here's Joaquim. Thought about it.
He wanted it. Believe me, he wanted that shot.
Tavita hit those 2 3-pointers early in the first half. No scoring since. And now a walk called against Joaquim. And Gib Arnold didn't like it, neither did Vander. 9th turnover for the Bows, compared to 6 for Pepperdine. Baker maybe getting away with a walk himself right there. Gotta love the Stan Sheriff Center crowd this season. 6 seconds to shoot. Scowen, they're gonna have to hoist. Willis, got it!
Whoa,
what a shot!
What a shot. The Warriors did a great job defensively until the very end, and then that's just a big-time shot.
Willis has shot 36% from out there this season. Last year in the win over Hawaii had 8 points and 5 assists. But this was about as clutch as you can get under these circumstances. That was nothing but net. Got it off with 2 seconds on the shot clock. So that's now 10 3-pointers for Pepperdine. That is a season high. The Waves, who are playing their 4th Big West Conference opponent this season. They are 2-1 so far. They lost to Cal State Northridge, which ironically is the only other team with a winning record aside from Hawaii among Big West schools this year. But they defeated UC Irvine, defeated UC Riverside. And now up 6 on the Rainbow Warriors. Pavlovich. That pass knocked away by Malin. Now Joaquin with it down low. The extra pass. Pavlovich steps into a 3. And the rebound gathered by Scowen. To shoot. Willis over Joaquin. He hits a big 3 at the end of the shot clock, and then the penetration jumper.
That's a huge shot over Joaquin.
Well, we can't stay in that 2-1-2 zone too much longer, though. We just can't do it.
And then the pass almost went out of bounds. Rositas able to chase it. Tavita, can he do it again? Yes, his 3rd 3-pointer of the night. All triples to account for Tavita's scoring. 9 points, 3 assists.
And he shoots a standstill 3, and I think that's his best shot without a doubt. Penetration is not going to help him, but he shoots that 3 very well.
The lead is 5. Baker open from mid-range, and Joaquin able to gather the rebound. Joaquin now with 8 boards. And a whistle on the floor, including a timeout on the floor. The foul goes against Nicholas Scowen, his 2nd. 7:40 heading into crunch time. Welcome back. Let's check out how it works, presented by Central Pacific Bank. Let us have it, Artie.
Yeah, well, it works real well when you're Caleb Willis and you get a good pick and can get into the lane, and Vander Joaquin comes out late and get a little short jumper. Watch it again. You see the pick. Euphrates sets a nice pick. Vander comes out a little late, and Willis just shoots that little floater over the top.
Well, I think if we notice, their guards play very flat, and they play inside the three-point line, giving any kind of penetration an easier shot than if they extend out a little bit more. They're really back there and packing it in against that zone. I don't know why. They're very big with this lineup.
Well, Hawaii has now brought in their normal starters. And Spearman's back on the floor. Jace Tavita, Vander, Hans Bereton, and Stan Hardinger.
Stan Hardinger missing the free throw. He leads Hawaii right now with 11 points. Fotu and Tavita each with 9. On the other side for Pepperdine, Jordan Baker leading the way with 11 points, although 9 players have gotten into the scoring column for the Waves, and Stan Hardinger goes 0 for 2 on that trip.
Well, Stan Hardinger has got to knock down free throws. These are critical free throws at this juncture in the ballgame.
Or they had to go to a man. I knew they had to go to a man because that zone was just not working. Not at all. Good change.
And you've got to pick it up and take a little pride in playing defense right now.
Very good change.
Scowen puts it on the floor. Now Willis, quick 3 over to Vita. Bit off a little more than he could chew on that try. Hawaii down 5 in transition. Hitting the 7-minute mark remaining in this game. Stan Hardinger. The shot a little too strong. Chased down in the corner by Baker.
And they still sag off Tavita, even though he made 3 threes. They still sag off him.
There's got to be a little movement offensively. Guys can't just stand and look at Vander.
How's the spacing as far as getting Vander Joachim?
That's why he's not. That's why he's not getting the ball, because you've got to spread the floor a little bit and you've got to move. You can't stand there and look at it.
Scowen hard drive, tough shot over. Brereton gets the bounce.
Ooh, that's like a home court rim right there for him.
That looked like it was at least a foot off.
It was like an air ball almost. They caught iron, and
we're playing in Honolulu. That rim had the Aloha spirit right there.
Big time.
Tavita, make it 4? No, not that time. And a foul called against Stan Hardinger, and things are getting a little bit out of grasp for Hawaii. 50-43, third foul called against Stan Hardinger. But they trail by 7 and have not had the best of offensive possessions the last 2 trips. Lauren Jackson back onto the floor, the top scorer for Pepperdine. Has 7 points tonight, but he's averaging 16 a game.
And he has 4.
Playing with 4 fouls.
Yeah, this is a crucial move. I mean, a critical move right here. With 5:57 to go in the ball game to put him in the ball game.
His nickname is LoJack. He reached 1,000 career points at Pepperdine December 1st against Utah Valley.
Well, they've already passed up 3 shots to extend the clock, so I just can't believe it.
Here's Davis.
He had that shot before.
Well, big shot.
He gave it up to the end of the shot clock.
And you know what the amazing thing is? If you can extend the shot clock and then knock down the shot at the very end.
That is very good.
Joachim for 3. Yes! How about that? Vander Joachim. The last 3 games prior to tonight had attempted 10 3-pointers, made 4 of them. He hits his first attempt tonight. It's down to 6. DeFreitas misses the jam. And Joachim's pass to Fotu deflected away and stolen. Another turnover for the Bows. Jackson, hard drive against Garrett Jefferson, who just checked in. Baker the penetration and hits the teardrop over Joachim.
He's tough because he looked at Vander Joachim and said, I'm coming right at you.
Sized him up and went up and over him.
He doesn't start either.
13 for Baker. He's leading the way for the Waves in scoring. Goes out of bounds, and it stays here with Pepperdine.
No, Pepperdine ball.
They're giving it to Orange.
It went off of Garrett Jefferson's foot.
Official pointing in the direction of Pepperdine, but yeah, now they...
Watch Baker here.
Nice teardrop.
He goes up, teardrop over Vander.
Yeah, the initial signal was that It was in the direction of Hawaii, but yeah, they changed that, so Pepperdine ball.
It's 54-46. It's an 8-point ball game with only 4:16 to go. Rainbow Warriors need to make a couple of defensive stops right here.
That's why Garrett Jefferson is in for defense.
Lauren Jackson back to the bench for Pepperdine. Again, playing with those 4 fouls, so they're trying to use him sparingly until we get into the final couple of minutes, I'm sure. Hawaii needs some stops. Feisty Pepperdine team, very active at both ends. Certainly thinking that they can improve on the 10-win season from a year ago and outperform the preseason pick to finish last in the West Coast Conference.
They run the clock down again, and
it was a tough shot, not that time. A whistle on the rebound called against Hawaii. Brandon Spearman picks it up. That's his first. Hawaii trying to find a way to rally. Down 8, 3:41 on the clock. Back here at the Stan Sheriff Center, Kanoa Leahy, Tony Salito, Artie Wilson. It's 54-46 in favor of Pepperdine, and the former Pepperdine assistant, Gib Arnold, trying to work the right combo, but here over the last 6 or 7 minutes or so, the Waves have been able to run time off of the shot clock and been able to hit even difficult shots as the shot clock wound down.
Yeah, they've done it 2 or 3 times, and that's been real impressive.
Now, if I'm not wrong, I mean, if I'm not right here, they're going to start to, UH is going to press them pretty soon.
They're going to need some stops.
Very
They're going to need some turnovers.
Especially if he makes these free throws.
Coach, they better hurry up. It's only 3:41 left.
If he makes these free throws, they are going to press him. 3:41's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Scary.
When you're
Scary
down
time.
When you're down by 10.
3:41 is plenty of time.
Okay.
You're only talking about 3 threes.
Mariba de Freitas got the first one, clanged the second. The lead is 9. This ties the biggest lead of the game for the Waves. The move by Jefferson, and he'll go to the line. That was an aggressive, athletic move by Garrett Jefferson, the junior.
Garrett goes strong right hand, reverse dribble, goes left, gets the body contact. Now we'll have to get to the free throw line and complete the play, make free throws.
It was an adventure last year from the line, just a 43% free throw shooter, but he's hit 3 of 4 so far this season. The Aloha bounce.
Yes. Yeah, you were a little concerned about that, huh? After talking about hitting 75% coming into this game.
Oh, that kind of stuff isn't real.
Yeah, okay.
Bachi, is that what you're talking about? just stating facts.
We had now made free throw. There will be full court pressure. No, missed free throw.
But Stan Hardinger, the offensive rebound, and it goes out to Jefferson. Pavlovich to Tavita. Thought about it. Now in low to Stan Hardinger. A lot of traffic down there. Can't hit the shot. Rebound pulled down by Stacey Davis.
You had two guys that hesitated, Pavlovich and Tavita. Didn't want to take the shot.
They're going to run that clock down. They're going to run that clock down every possession.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's why it's in the 40s and 50s.
Timeout called by Marty Wilson.
Well, that's why I was concerned about the time left on the clock, Coach, because they take so much air out of the ball, and they take so much time off the clock, and Hawaii has not shown the ability to stop them, to take the ball away.
2 timeouts remaining for Pepperdine. Make that 1. That will be the penultimate timeout for Pepperdine here in regulation. 3 timeouts left for Hawaii.
Well, it's an 8-point ball game at this point in time, and Hawaii still has plenty of time. They've got to make a couple stops, and then offensively, they can't take a lot of time off the clock to get some baskets to fall for them. They've got to have guys on the floor willing to take shots. See, you have to be willing to miss in order to make it. Some guys don't want to be the guy who misses a shot, so they avoid the shot and they make another pass. Sometimes you got to just take the shot.
Big week in Hawaii athletics with the naming of a new athletics director here at the University of Hawaii, Ben Jay.
Is he in the house?
Don't believe so.
Okay.
They're saying that he's going to get started on the job sometime in January. Coming over from his post as an associate at Ohio State. Hawaii trying to get a win here on its home floor against Pepperdine. Couple of tip attempts not there. Fotu clears it for Hawaii. Dribbles into the front court. The big man handling the ball in transition.
The guards have to go get that.
Stan Hardinger. This is for 3. Yes!
Big time shot by Stan Hardinger. Timeout Hawaii after the made 3-pointer.
Plenty of time. 2:30 is a long time.
So Hawaii will have 2 timeouts left, but Stan Hardinger hitting a clutch 3. He's got 14 points to go along with 9 rebounds. This is very doable here. 5 points, 2.5 to go. You just need some stops.
Yeah, you got to make defensive stop, and if Pepperdine takes a shot, you can't give them a second opportunity at the rebound, so you can't give them an offensive board in this situation.
No, they're pressuring the ball right from the bat, so it's going to be hard for Pepperdine to run the clock down. They're not going to be able to do that, or shot clock down. They're not going to be able to do that at all. They're all over it. I'm sure Coach is talking about that right now, spreading the floor and seeing if they can keep it.
Yeah, if you're Pepperdine, if you're Marty Wilson, you're sitting there saying, look, let them foul us. Do not turn it over. Make them commit a foul, and then we have to be ready to go to the free throw line and knock down free throws. If you're the University of Hawaii, you want to force a turnover. You want to get a stop. You want to have Pepperdine make a mistake because there's still plenty of time here.
Well, you don't want to foul Lauren Jackson if at all possible. 82% free throw shooter.
Now, on a lesser note, is that Wilson a relative of yours?
Hey, you know, all Wilsons are related at some point in time. Wilson Sporting Goods is a relative. We just never got any of those royalties. You know, it's like the Leahys. They're all over the world.
And here's the press. Here's the press I talked about. They're going to press from here on in.
Well, they have to. They're down.
Kramer retrieves the inbound pass from Willis, and now a foul by Stan Hardinger.
Grab this shirt. Grab this shirt.
So Willis will go to the free throw line. 8th team foul for Hawaii. 4th personal against Stan Hardinger, by the way. But it'll be a bonus situation here for Caleb Willis.
This is where free throws. This is where free throws. I mean, if you're confident, you want the ball in your hand, you want to go to the line, you like this situation. If you're a guy who doesn't like to be under pressure when everybody's watching, you avoid the ball.
Well, it's Baker standing at the free throw line, but it looked as though Willis was the one handling the basketball, and now there's a discussion with the officials.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to pull the switcheroo because
So
maybe Baker's a better free throw shooter?
No question.
I think Willis didn't want to be there.
No, Willis is not a good free throw shooter.
Baker's only shooting 67% this year from the line.
And
Willis 63.
Their body's type, maybe pressure situation. Let's see what Willis will do.
He's 0 for 3 this year.
If you didn't want to get there in the beginning, do you want to be there now?
Should say 0 for 3 tonight. And he gets the first one to drop.
What's the big thing, guys?
He's the best free throw shooter there.
Watch Stan Hardinger.
Grab his shirt twice.
There it was.
Stop the
Trying to pull a fast one on the officials.
And Willis is saying, hey, it's not a big thing. I was a little winded, that's all.
And goes 1 of 2, so 1 for 5 from the line tonight. Here's Willis. The lead is 6. Stan Hardinger. They could use it. When Clangs doesn't go chased down by Baker.
That's just not good basketball right there. Too quick.
That's too quick.
Way too quick. Way too quick.
Now they're playing keep away. You've got to trap this ball now.
You got to foul this ball. You got to foul him.
There's a foul. It'll be Baker. Baker yet to attempt a free throw tonight.
No trapping in basketball.
No trapping?
No trapping. Not at the end of the game. It's called fouling.
And Pavlovich entering back in, replacing Stan Hardinger. A lot of minutes tonight for the freshman, Ozren Pavlovich. 2 points, 3 rebounds in 6 minutes time against UNLV.
Well, this free throw is very important.
Baker now with 14 points to go along with 6 rebounds.
As far as I'm concerned, Baker has been their most outstanding performer this half. And perhaps for the whole game. He's playing a wonderful basketball.
He's played very solid.
He just made 2 free throws right here.
Hit some real key jumpers.
And we know why they tried to pull the switcheroo on the refs on that last foul.
And he did not start, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Playing a terrific game.
Although he did start 7 of the team's first 8 games, so a little bit of a tweak in the rotation by head coach Marty Wilson.
Take it out, Jace Tavita now with
Monroop Claire.
Claire in there.
Claire.
Here's Fotu going baseline and 1. Well, Hawaii not going away quietly if that is to be the case. 11 points, 9 boards now for Fotu. And again, that quick spin to the baseline. The foul called against Stacey Davis, his 3rd.
Well, what's so impressive about that is once he went left, and this time he went right. And it's really impressive for a young man. Very, 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 very good footwork.
Good to see this kind of performance, as you were alluding to earlier, already coming off of what he did against UNLV.
Absolutely, and this is real important right here. Knocks down the free throw. You got to put pressure on the ball. And you don't want to bail this team out by committing a foul.
Jackson controls. Best free throw shooter on the team. And a steal by Spearman, no. Had his hand on it, Jackson took it away.
They're going to wait till they get fouled, that's for sure.
Well, they waited all this time. You wonder if Hawaii wanted to foul in that situation. Spearman commits the foul. They had allowed 20 seconds to come off of the shot clock.
See, my philosophy would be you trap it. If you don't get it after the first one, you got to commit the foul.
Yeah, but coach is upset because they didn't foul right away.
Yeah.
Well, I think they
should have had the trap. They should have had the trap and steal with the first one with Brandon Spearman.
But I think at that point, if you go that deep into the shot clock, might as well not foul.
Yeah.
Try to play out the possession. Jackson hits.
That's 3 for 3 for Pepperdine, the last 3 free throws.
Jackson, who changed his number from 20 to 0, just for a fresh start. Remember, he sat out last year with a 2nd ACL surgery in his collegiate career. And playing with 4 fouls to close out this game. Hitting a couple of much-needed clutch free throws. Final timeout taken by Marty Wilson and Pepperdine.
Well, that was Pepperdine timeout?
Yeah, Pepperdine timeout with a minute 25 to go. They're up 7. If you're Pepperdine, You're talking about going down and playing defense and then realizing that on a made basket, you've got to get the ball in bounds right away because you don't have the luxury of having a timeout to call a timeout if you're struggling to get the ball in again.
All right, the officials correcting it now. They said that it was a Hawaii signaled timeout.
Oh, really?
But they definitely pointed at the Pepperdine bench.
Did.
So how many timeouts
So it
does
should be
Pepperdine
one
have?
apiece,
One apiece?
I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Remaining. 1:25 to go. That possession, that looms large. Hawaii allowing all that time to tick off of the shot clock, fouling with about 14 seconds left.
Yeah, they lost about 22 seconds.
Yeah, but you know what? This is a very important possession for Hawaii. Now, I don't think it's the most important, but I think it is extremely important for them to score on this possession.
They're going to put the ball in the hands of Garrett Jefferson. And I like what Pepperdine is doing right here. They're putting pressure in the backcourt.
Well, they're in a 2-2-1 press.
Yeah, they're putting pressure in the back. So they're going to make Hawaii work to get the ball down the floor.
Yep.
Force them to take a little more time. Yeah.
Yep.
Jefferson.
Jefferson picks the ball up right there.
They need to do something in a hurry. Here's Monroe Claire. Stan Hardinger to Joaquin. Hawaii does not have time to dilly-dally. Tough shot by Joaquin. Timeout signaled by Gib Arnold. 1:01 remaining.
24 seconds on that possession.
The lead is 5 for the Waves.
24 seconds.
That is the final timeout for the Rainbow Warriors.
Vander gets the ball on this replay now.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Gets a shot to fall for him. Hawaii gets the timeout. It's a 5-point ball game, a minute 1. You've got to get a stop.
Hawaii has this ball game tonight. Then next week on the island of Molokai against Chaminade. And that is it until the Diamond Head Classic, when they'll lead things off against a very tough Miami Hurricanes team in the opening round.
Diamond Head Classic will be a very good classic.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be a lot of good basketball.
Arizona, San Diego State, Miami, all those teams playing at a high level.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of good basketball to be seen. And even games that Hawaii is not involved in, people need to come in and check those games out because they'll be very good.
It'll be a fun one. But Hawaii not out of this just yet.
Do we have a man press? No. Is this a man press here? Is that what we have?
Willis taking time to inbound the ball, and a 5-second violation. Exactly what Hawaii needed.
Absolutely. And I thought it was just a poor situation for Pepperdine. They had a guy wide open. They didn't see him.
And had one timeout to use in an emergency situation. The only timeout remaining in this game for either side.
There's still minute 1. There's 2 or 3 possessions right here.
Yeah, but
that could be huge depending on what Hawaii does right here.
A shot here is really big because it'll really narrow the gap, and they got a legitimate chance of winning the game.
Barrington just gonna float out to that corner probably.
Stan Hardinger, 3 from the corner. Doesn't go, rebound Baker. And Hawaii will have to foul again. They're going to trap in the backcourt, though, and they force a steal. Stan Hardinger misses the layup as it gets wedged between the rim and the backboard, so it goes to the possession arrow, and the possession arrow points in the direction of Hawaii, so they retain the possession.
Pepperdine is falling apart under the pressure of this whole thing.
But Hawaii yet to take true advantage, at least on the last couple of sequences.
Pepperdine was having a hard time getting the ball in 5 minutes ago. They're not falling apart. They don't have a good press break. That's the extent of it. It's terrible press break.
Well,
they do the same thing.
That's kind of falling apart, isn't it, Coach?
Oh, man.
Oh,
and there's not a lot of time on the clock, fellas.
Here's Joaquin. Tough shot. Can't get the bounce.
Over the back.
And he commits the foul on the rebound.
And they're going to have a hard time getting it in if they use that same press. Oh, they go to the free throw line. Okay, sorry.
Hawaii has had its opportunities here in the last 30 seconds.
They've gotten a couple. I mean, Pepperdine has done what Hawaii needed them to do in order to give Hawaii an opportunity and a chance. They just not made the plays.
Third foul against Vander.
And Marty Wilson says,
get off the line, make these free throws, don't commit a foul.
And I think Pepperdine sending Lauren Jackson to the free throw line, the Hawaii coaching staff up in arms saying, no, it should be somebody else shooting
don't do that again.
the free throw. I think they're pointing at DeFreitas.
They're looking for the weakest free throw shooter, but it's going to be Jackson.
The officials talked about it, though, for a little bit. So here's Lauren Jackson. Gets the bounce.
Wow.
Still a 2-possession game.
It's supposed to be Jackson. Let's watch it here on the replay. You see, Vander's over his back, so that's the correct call.
Wow. 4 in a row that young man hit. Those are clutch free throws, boy. Too slow. Come on.
3-possession game. Garrett Jefferson got that one wiped away by DeFreitas. Willis ahead of the pack. And he'll pull it out. Hawaii forced a foul. And the Rainbow Warriors' hopes on life support right now.
That was a sensational block, I'll tell you. That was a big-time block. Big.
Check it out again. Now, Garrett Jefferson goes up.
Yeah, weak side block.
That's
weak
just
side
good help
came
side.
over. A great help side.
Yeah, great help side.
Willis.
He made 3 in a row. Now he's made 3 in a row. And the other guy made 4 in a row. That's 7 in a row.
You know what? When you go down the stretch in crunch time, pressure situations, you either won it or you don't. And these guys won.
Well, and it's the Karaoke Star reportedly from a evening ago.
I'm not sure what he was singing that short version.
You know, he was able to put together some.
He can go back old school. We're a winner.
Here's Joaquim. Got that one stolen away, poked right back. Hawaii needs to hurry up a shot. At this point, it appears academic. It'll be a whistle on the rebound. It will go against Lauren Jackson. That'll be his 5th, so he'll leave the game. But at this point, it'll be academic. 7.7 left on the clock. So when Lauren Jackson went out, got into foul trouble in the second half, it was guys like Jordan Baker and certainly Caleb Willis, the Karaoke Star from last night, put together some melodic play certainly here in this second half that afforded Pepperdine the opportunity to stay in front when Hawaii made its run.
He came through and did a big-time job. This is an impressive. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful job.
Big time
wonderful job. Wonderful.
And Baker, I mean, he went 3 out of 4 from the three-point area. He's got 15.7 rebounds in this ball game. Caleb Willis has 11 points. Both of those guys have done a fantastic job.
A team like Pepperdine going on the road and winning a game like this, that's huge. That's a terrific accomplishment because I know they weren't favored. There's no way. Hawaii was much better.
Hawaii also 12 of 23 from the free throw line pending this attempt. Make it 13 of 24.
Which is not good shooting.
The inbound goes to Baker. Hawaii able to work a steal away. And it's Stan Hardinger fouled on the attempt. So 3.1 Stan Hardinger to go to the free throw line.
You have the worst press break I've ever seen. I've never seen a press break that bad. Same thing over and over and over. It didn't work once. It's not going to work again.
It's pretty incredible that they get the ball in bounds and there's nothing.
Missed free throw again by Stan Hardinger, now 5 of 9. Double-double performance, though, for Christian, 14 and 10.
Christian's doing a nice job, but you got to knock down free throws. Hawaii, 13 out of 25 from the free throw line at this point in the ball game. Make it 13 out of 26. You shoot 50% from the line at home. Not supposed to happen.
That's your ball game. 63-56 the final. Pepperdine improves to 3-1 against teams from the Big West Conference, of which Hawaii is now a part. 63-56 Waves over the Bows. We'll be back to talk about it right after this. Your Bank of Hawaii players of the game, Jordan Baker off of the bench, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 of 4 from distance. Isaac Fotu, the selection from Hawaii, 12 points and 9 rebounds. But we were talking about it here in this last commercial break, guys. 13 of 26 from the free throw line among the statistics that you first look at following a loss here at the Stan Sheriff Center for Hawaii, 63-56, the final to Pepperdine.
Yeah, you can't win ball games at home shooting 50% from the free throw line. You're supposed to have an advantage at home. You're supposed to be able to go to the line. You know your rims, you know your floor, you know your environment. You've got to shoot 75, 77% from the floor, from the free throw line especially. And then defensively, when you need to make a stop, you got to come up and make a defensive stop. Hawaii has struggled with that a couple times this year, and they did it tonight. They did not make stops when they needed to make it, and credit Pepperdine for going to the free throw line down the stretch, and everybody that went there knocked down free throws.
The thing that disturbed me the most was, you know, you just can't win basketball games scoring 56 points. That's far too few points to score in a game, and you know, they had to do something to up-tempo their offense. They had to do something to up-tempo the game, and it didn't happen, and I think the university suffered.
Was it perhaps a little bit of what we talked about in the opening of this game when we discussed that sparse schedule over the last few weeks? Is there some of that at play here?
Oh, Artie and I both agree.
Totally agree.
That's very difficult.
You can't simulate practice the same kind of competition. You need to play. The more games you play, the better you are. And you want to play as many preseason games before conference as possible. You want to play as many games before the Diamond Head Classic as possible. And playing one game a week for 3 weeks in a row is not the answer, in my opinion.
Also, Vander Joachim, again, some issues with the knee this week. What was your impression of how he looked out there?
Well, I thought he looked all right, but 10 points and
8 rebounds.
I think you would expect a little bit more out of him against a team like Pepperdine, where he was by far the biggest player on the floor, and it didn't happen.
Well, the two guys that didn't show up tonight for Hawaii, Hans Berreton didn't do a job, and Brandon Spearman. Neither one of those guys were that effective on the floor. Coach Gib Arnold went with a couple of the young guys, and they got in the game and didn't do that much either. And Oz Pavlovich and Manroof Claire, both of those guys got a lot of time, but they didn't do as much. So guys have got to just do a little self-evaluation and decide they want to come out and play harder, because Pepperdine was a team that Hawaii was probably favored to win and should have won. Instead, now they're second-guessing themselves, and it's not a good thing because they can't play again until next Saturday.
That's right. Pepperdine improving to 6-3 this season. Remember, this is a team that won just 10 games last year. Hawaii falling to 4-3. First loss, though, against a team that is not expected to be ranked in the top 25 in the upcoming week. That will do it for us. Something in the air, I guess. Manti doesn't win the Heisman. BJ Penn loses. Manny Pacquiao adopted by a lot of Hawaii fans.
It's in threes. It's over now.
And Hawaii falls here against Pepperdine. That'll do it for us. For Artie Wilson, we still think could be the cousin of Marty Wilson, head coach for Pepperdine.
We're not sure about that.
Tony Salito. I'm Kanoa Leahy. Stay tuned for the post-game show with Dash and the gang. 63-56 your final. Till next time, aloha.